Oh shit, I just spilled all over myself. Anyway, guys, hello. The name doesn't matter here. And today I want to make a tier list video of music to listen to when you're studying. So before we're going to start, we're going to do a very quick tier listing guide. So what do I mean by tier listing guide? These are going to be the rules essentially that I'm going to follow in making the tier list. Because as I've watched hundreds of tier lists made by other people, I realize that they've done a few things that I don't really like. So let's go the first one. I must follow normal distribution as much as possible. So if you take a look, essentially things on the extremes, both extreme right and extreme bottom left, or in our case, it's going to be S tier versus bottom tier. They have to have, they should strive to have the least amount of entries. I've seen many tier lists where people would put, for example, five things in S, and then in the middle they would have only three items. And that kind of doesn't make any sense. Not everything can be S tier. Then we have can only have a maximum of two objects in S tier. This is gonna be my hard limit. This is again to make sure that if I'm choosing things for S tier, they have to mean something and they have to be there for a reason. And they cannot, I cannot overpopulate the higher tiers. Must have at least one thing on the bottom tier. Again, I've seen so many guides where people will have, for example, S tier, A tier, and B tier, and fill all of that out and have nothing for C and D. But if you have nothing in C and D tiers, then what is the point of that tier? The only exception to this rule is, let's say you have a gap of tiers and something is so bad that it's at the bottom only and there's nothing in the two tiers above. And also, if you don't like my list, complain it in the comment section. Right, let's go. So the goal is to rate most popular music types based on how good they are to study with. So we're gonna go left to right here. Our tier list is S, A, B, C, and bottom tier, which means that our aim is to have most of our content in B tier. So let's talk. Let's go through probably the most popular one and one of the worst ones is anime. Anime music is pretty good. I'm a massive fan, and I think if you have the right playlist, you can really have a great music to listen to. The only issue is that it's usually lyrical focused, and lyrical focused music is not very good for studying because you're trying to think in your own head, and thinking is a lot harder when you are listening to a chorus, for example. So that's why I'm gonna put it in the C tier for now. Brown music. I want to put it really high. I really do. But I think I'm gonna put in B. Brown music's pretty good. However, brown music gets repetitive. And I don't know about you, but I kind of get this like headache from listening for it for too long. And every time, and when I go through like a period of listening for it for 45 minutes and I take my headset off, I don't want to listen to brown music again. And for that reason, it's gonna have to be B tier. Classical music, A tier, strong A tier. Why? There's almost no lyrics here. The songs, the music that you will listen to will most likely be something like Beethoven, Bach, Vivaldi, whatever. And these composers are quite popular and common, and therefore you will already know the song before you play it. And if that's the case, it will take less of your attention away from your studying. I would love to put this in S tier. However, classical music, if you have the wrong volume, you will be so excited to listen to it that you will actually get distracted. And I think getting distracted is the worst possible thing when it comes to tier listing music to study. So you want as little distractions as possible. Country music. I want to put a C tier, but I'm going to put it B tier for now. It's kind of similar to anime where if you have a good playlist, it can be really good, but it's so lyrical based half the time that you are going to be distracted. So even if the music is a whole tier above anime, you just you kind of have to curate a good playlist. You can't just go on YouTube and get a random country music playlist and enjoy it, because you'll just get distracted by the music. Now this is the 240 hertz galaxy brain music. This is the to improve your brain kind of music. Um, I think this is the bog standard. I think when it comes to studying music, this is the expectation that someone's going to be listening to. It's quite good. It's quite varied, and there's a lot of offshoots of the genre. Um, I like it overall. I think it's average because it just doesn't stand out. It doesn't do anything special. Actually, let me put it above. Actually, let me put it here because yeah, it's a bit better than brown. So I got the Diablo icon here, but this is video game music. Now, video game music, and in particular, I'm talking about video game ambient music, is pretty good. The issue is again, some of it can be slightly distracting. And because of the distracting factor, I'll put it in B. If you, for example, listen to something like Tristan music from Diablo 2, you're completely fine. If you're, for example, listening to some Divinity or Baldur's Gate 3 background music, you'll be fine. But it's not every single genre. If you're gonna start listening to Doom and it's super pumped up and you're ready to kill demons, you're just not gonna be in the same headspace to study. And we're gonna have our first S tier. This is Rainfall. I think I spend the most amount of time these days on this. Um, I've listened to all of these music genres for studying, and Rainfall is most recent S tier for me. I never get tired of it. I could listen to it for hours on end, and it's not distracting at all. It's soothing, and sometimes when you want to take a break from studying, I will just sit there and listen to the rainfall sounds on themselves. So I think it's quite a strong S tier, and yeah. Now my least favorite music genre when it comes to studying, rap. Could you salvage it? Maybe, but it just rap is lyrical focused. When you listen to rap, you're there to listen to people that have very good verbal skills, and anything to do with words instantly disqualifies you from great music to listen to when studying because you can't think yourself. So you get distracted quite easily. So it has to be in the bottom tier. Jazz. Jazz is one of the more recent additions that I started listening to. I think it's pretty good. I think it's um, I think it's quite hard to miss with jazz. It's quite difficult to find a playlist that is really bad for studying unless you're looking for it. So I think it's kind of similar to classical music where it's pretty difficult to screw it up. And then probably the most famous version of studying music, lo-fi. Easiest here. Lo-fi Girl probably started this whole music thing. She is extremely popular. I used to listen to her on hours on end. In fact, I had a certain live streams bookmarked, and they've been taken down sadly over the years. But Lo-fi is incredible. Lo-fi Girl in particular is really good, and I recommend everyone listen to lo-fi when they want something to focus on work or studying. I personally prefer Rainfall, but I cannot deny the cultural and the versatility of Lo-Fi Girl. You cannot miss going with the Lo-Fi Girl. Next is slowed music. This is difficult. This is really difficult. I'm gonna put it just above gaming. If you have a well curated list of slowed music and you turn the volume down, it can be S tier. If you just listen to random slowed music, it's kind of like anime, where some of it will be good, some of it will be bad, but because there's so many lyrics involved, you're gonna be distracted. So because it has such high variance of anywhere between C and S tier, I'm gonna put it at top of B. And then finally, last and almost least, is one of my favorite music genres, white girl music. I don't really know where to put it between anime and white girl music because I think they're kind of in the same place. However, white girl music is quite lyrical based, and as we discussed earlier, lyrics distract you too much, so it's not the greatest. However, if you have white girl music that is slowed, I think it can work quite well. Personally, I avoid these three music genres when I'm studying, unless there's some kind of slowed reverb or a lo-fi version of it. Um, yeah, so that's my tier list. Obviously, my tier list is correct, and anyone that disagrees with my tier list is wrong. So I hope you can roast me in the comment section saying how my music taste sucks. Um, but if that's not the case, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.